Hey, Joe, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm awesome. I'm so appreciative that you could take a few minutes to chat with me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh, of course, of course. So we'll just go ahead and get started. I have a couple questions to ask you today, as we do this, kind of getting to know our village in a certain way. So, um, share a moment that changed you in some way throughout your life.
Uh, wow, it's a deep one. It would probably be um after my divorce. I had tried to commit suicide a couple times.
Mm,
Um, and I failed, each time. And I thought, man, I can't even do this right.
mm,
There's got to be a something bigger. Um, and so I didn't know at the time that I had a purpose, and I had a reason to be here.
yeah.
And I wouldn't know that for another 2 years when I got my clan and my name,
Mm,
and and the story that came with my name explained an awful lot of all that stuff that I had to deal with as a youth and as a young adult, and kind of explained why I felt the way that I felt, or why I felt lost in the world.
yeah.
Um, and then knowing my clan and what we do, made a lot of sense of a lot of the things that I stood up for, not only in Indian country, but just in general society for vulnerable people.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that leads me. Well, first of all, I do want to say thank you for sharing that. I always appreciate when people trust the space to be able to share, intimate things that have gone on through their life. So I definitely appreciate that. Um, and I guess that leads me to my next question: is what's one thing you would tell your younger self? Because sounds like you had some epiphanies along the way. So what's something that you would tell your younger self?
Uh, to be proud of who you are,
Yeah.
not to be shamed. So in my culture at the time when we were youth, it was just I think people forget that my parents' generation, it was still shameful to be native. It was still
Mm,
shameful to be indigenous.
yeah.
And that carried over to us, the offspring of that generation, right? We carried that.
Yeah.
Um, and the fact of the matter is that our parents' generation were the first generation that weren't victims so much of the boarding schools.
Mm,
So we all know that generational trauma exists for BIPOC people and LGBTQ, right? We know that scientifically that exists.
yeah.
So not only were we carrying that, uh, we were having added trauma on top of it because most of our parents didn't know how to be parents. So they came from broken homes.
Mm,
Um, so and that creates things, in the youth that man, I'm not worthy of. I see my non-native friends have these uh, strong family relationships and bonds, and we don't have it. And is it because we were told we weren't worthy this whole time, or that we were less than?
yeah.
And that was part of my problem that led me to the previous question, right? Of me committing suicide, is I didn't feel that I was worthy of walking on our land, our earth, our Amek, our Mother Earth.
Yeah.
So if I had to tell my younger self, would be, hey, all these things that you're experiencing right now, it's like that old folklore where you're given this tool and all those things in life, they shape that tool to whatever it may be. uh,
Yeah.
so I would tell myself all those things you're facing, are sharpening that knife, so that
Mhm.
way when those later in life, when those same circumstances or environment come up, you know how to respond.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. No, that's deep. Especially when it comes to being proud of who you are. If you don't live in an environment and have surroundings where people put that and pour that into you constantly, to be proud of who you are and you're beautiful and you're worthy, you do have to learn in some kind of way. You do have to kind of like self-talk, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Well, that leads me to my next question because, I know you do a lot in your community and others, and you show up in different ways. So, how have you intentionally showed up and helped to bring change in the world?
So it's weird, and so I don't mean for this to be like pro indigenous, but
Tell
it
your
is who I
story.
am, right?
Yeah,
And
tell your story.
so that when we started with the first question, I explained, hey, how my clan came into things and my name.
Yeah,
And this is no different.
yeah,
It's weird how when things connect and we see things, look, I don't believe things happen for a coincidence. I believe that all things are connected, just like all humans. We just have different cultures.
yeah,
So knowing that, my clan is Martin clan or Wababiji, and we used to be the warrior clan, but we don't go to wars no more, right? So
yeah,
we have adapted over the last 500 years of colonialism, and so what my clan does now is we are community activists, we're teachers, we're philosophers, we're lawyers, we're judges, we're police officers. We guard outside of the circle, looking inside of it. So when we see somebody within our own culture, hey, practicing lateral oppression, weaponizing men and women, trying to de-authentic, what's the word? Authentic. You know, when somebody tells a story and it's their authenticity coming through,
yes.
hey,
No, I get what you're saying.
people try
That word
to,
always trips me up, so I'm not even gonna try to help. But I know what you're saying.
hey, my people weren't meant to speak English is my excuse.
Okay,
So when people try to take away somebody's authenticity or whatever from their story, that's
yeah,
stealing their identity.
yeah,
So what
yeah,
my clan is supposed to do, is we see those threats and we call them out.
yeah,
And being in the community and speaking up for vulnerable people, hey,
yeah,
whether it's women and children, elderly people, or as we explained a couple minutes ago, that being in those situations, hey, that fight situation,
yeah,
some people have never experienced it. And you know as well as I know that 9 times out of 10, they're going to, hey,
yeah,
boogie.
yeah,
So that's where people like me come in, because we're the ones that say, no, this is the way, this is the right way. This is the humanist way. This is what's supposed to be done from the old day, our heart. This
yeah,
is that right way. So uh, my clan has done that for me more than I probably realized. And like I said, when I got my name in my clan, and I remember all those times, even as a youth, when I worked with those that had disabilities and stood up for people that couldn't defend themselves
yeah.
and bullying. Uh, I was doing my clan duties and I didn't even know it.
Right. It was in you. It was in you.
It was
Yeah,
in me. And when
yeah.
you know as well as I know, with the people you work with and interview, when we go out here and we do this stuff, it's not because, hey, we're going to get rich from it
Right.
or people are going to like us. It's literally the opposite, right? Like,
Yeah,
we literally are attacked and weaponized for standing up and doing the right thing. So
yeah,
it comes with a responsibility. And
yeah,
I think that some people just have it to do it for the right reasons and some just don't. And I think so.
yeah,
I intentionally show up because my clan requires that I do. And then along with the story of my name. It's just
yeah,
who I am. I've always done it. And I know, even when I was gangbanging, right? I was part of it when I was gangbanging. That's exactly what I was doing. It was just for that community, not my Indian or
right,
community. You know what I mean? And I think that's where
right.
we as a society disconnect with some of these youth, is that we're so quick to weaponize and not meet people where they're at. And
Yes.
we love to preach it, but we never practice it. And I think maybe me acquiring that skill and the things that I've lived through has helped me do that.
Oh, for sure. And I have two questions for you with that. I mean, one comment for myself is that, when I was younger in school, I got kicked out of several schools
Mhm.
because of how I was, right? I've always been outspoken. I've always stood up for people that I felt I needed to because they wouldn't, stand up for themselves. And I got in trouble for it a lot. And so I like how you touched on that, because a lot of times we look at stuff that society sees or we're taught is wrong, right? So we look at that and we think we failed, like this is our failure, when really it's just something that's in us. We just have to learn how to navigate and use it the proper way. You know what I'm saying? Because I truly believe that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And then my other part is, do you feel like when you received your name, when you like learned of your name, or like your tribe, do you feel like it validated you in some kind of way, where you felt like, okay, I'm a part of something. This is my greater calling. Do you feel like that's something that you really needed in your life because you kind of were aimlessly kind of like knowing, okay, where do I belong?
Yeah. So I'll share you so our name is not literal. What it translates to is part of it, but what our name really is literally the story that goes with it. So my name is Banashi, and it means all of the birds, right? All the little ones, all the big ones, the quiet ones, the loud ones, the ugly ones, the pretty ones, the mean ones, the nice ones, all of them.
Oh, that's why you always have your birds and stuff on your staffs and your
Usually, yep.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so the story was that my healer had gone through the forest, and we have to remember that prior to colonization, here in Michigan, the forest was so thick, right? It was just thick. So he was going through that forest, and he heard my voice, and every bud of every tree on every leaf. Hey, he heard me. I was saying good things. I was saying bad things. I was making people mad. I was leading people. People were supporting me. People were mad at me. Hey, that explained my whole life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it explains it now, right? So when I take a stand in the community, or I take a stand in our greater community, when I go and I stand with Justice for Black Lives, or when I go and I stand for Black Lives Matter, or I go and I march with our LGBTQ community, hey, some people get mad at that. Hey,
Yeah.
and some people support it.
Yeah.
What I'm learning at 45 years old, and it's a little late in the game to learn it, and especially because I've been doing this activism for a good 15, 18 years now. I just never even realized that's what I was doing, right?
Right.
We all got woke about this about 6, 7 years ago, where we really were like, oh, no, that's an act of activism.
Right.
And now I forgot what I was saying, but
No, you were saying how, you got the trees and everything was calling to you, and you realized that this was something that was a part of you and what you needed to do.
yeah. So even now, when I take those stands and it bugs or rubs people the wrong way, I know I'm doing exactly what I was supposed to be doing. I'm
Right.
doing what my ancestors wanted, no matter
Right.
who that makes mad, no matter who it offends, no
Yeah.
matter who may like it. I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing because it was already confirmed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's the thing, is that that's what I think is so beautiful about it, is that when you know that your purpose, and there's just some intention in your life that's meant to be, once you realize that, you walk in that, and it's just it gives you strength, it gives you courage, it gives you a voice, because you know it, right? You've already been confirmed within, so you just kind of like rock with it, because we know that it's gonna be some people that's gonna have a problem no matter what. I mean, you could be handing out apples or dinners, and somebody will be like, "Why is he handing out dinners?" I mean, some people just are like that, so
Mm-hmm.
it just is what it is. So I appreciate what you do and how you show up. And that's the thing that's so interesting, is that I always try to tell people, even if you don't necessarily agree with every little thing that a person does, it's still okay to give them their respect and their props for what they do, especially if you're the person that won't do it.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up because I get
Yeah.
asked about a lot of lateral oppression is a real thing that happens in BIPOC communities and LGBT. It really is a real thing and it needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
However, I always laugh at when people weaponize other people or whatever. I always laugh at the fact that when there's an event for the bigger community, some
Yeah.
of us that literally have the skill or the ability or the responsibility or whatever we want to call it,
Yeah.
that hey, those petty differences that we have with somebody personally, we set
Yeah.
aside because there's a bigger picture, right? And I
Yes.
get asked about a lot of people in the community sometimes, and hey, there's a lot I don't like. Let me be real honest,
Oh
right?
yeah. Yeah.
And I will
Yeah.
be like, hey, I don't agree with everything that so and so may do. However, hey, they do some good on this, or I may be asked to about a topic that I don't know a lot about, and
Sure.
I will tell a person I have no problem. Hey, I don't get along with this person, but this is who you need to reach out to because this is what they know a lot about,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why we need that? I don't know what trait that is. I don't know what to
Yeah.
call it, but that's what we need more of.
Yeah.
Because that's going to help address some of those issues that we talked about. And again, so if I didn't know that story of my name, and I didn't
Yeah.
know what my clan was supposed to do, uh, when I got ostracized from when I get ostracized from my own community, right, I would
Yeah.
just tuck and run. And I don't think that people understand that we as natives, we are such a little pocket of society that if I
Yes.
identified as my white half, right, and say
Yeah.
I upset a group of this white people, I
Yeah.
could go and find 1,000 other white groups and never, ever have to come back, right,
Right.
and interfere or interact with this original group again. But I,
Right.
as a person of color, just like in the Black community and the
Yeah.
LGBT community and any BIPOC community, especially indigenous communities, such low number, we travel. So I go to a
Right.
powwow up in Sault Ste. Marie, or I'll go to a powwow in Detroit or in Port Huron, right? And guess what?
You'll
I'm going to
see.
see those people that
Yeah.
I offended in that original circle, and I still have to interact because our social circle is so small. I don't have another pocket to go and be Indian with.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
No,
that's
it's
just
true.
another layer in our community that has to be discussed.
Yeah, yeah. And people have to get past this envy and
Yeah.
jealousy, and it's like, get over yourself. Like you said, it's a big picture that we're trying to accomplish, and we have to do it together. Like, no man is an island, no matter how much we try to be. No man is an island, especially when you are trying to ignite change. When you are trying to ignite change, you have to work together, like you said, and put some of that stuff aside and like make it happen. I mean, you have to. So, my
The fact
last
of the
question.
matter is,
Oh,
these
go
are
ahead.
many of our birthrights, right, from our culture. There are literal birthrights.
Yeah, no, it's the truth. It's the truth, and I think that I know, especially in my community, I think that if we knew more of our roots, because a lot of us don't.
Right.
We are just here as Smiths and Walkers and Joneses, and But I think that when people start to learn more of their roots, and even if you don't know, years and years and years and centuries and stuff, even the people within the generations that you do know, learn from each other, glean from each other, and truly try to build up that inner strength of who you are, and to feel validated in a sense of who I am and why I'm here and what's my purpose. I think that's really
Absolutely.
important. So I really appreciate people that know that and research it and have that to grow from. So um my last question from you is, if you have some words of encouragement, which I think you've left a lot, but if you have something to leave with us, what would they be?
Be proud of who you are, no matter what
Yeah.
it is, no matter your culture, no matter your identity. Uh, be proud of that. Hey,
Yeah.
there's a lot of identities that a lot of us carry, and
Yeah.
the one thing for that I really like to touch on is it was with biracial people like myself,
Yeah.
is that I go out and I take a stand in many communities about this issue. I get to identify what my heart tells me to identify as. It's
Yeah.
not up to my siblings. It's not up to my parents. It's not up to my grandparents. It's not up to my
Yeah.
community. It's up to me. No matter what I identify as, and I want people to make sure that they understand that because I know being biracial, hey, it's a burden because we have to live these two worlds, hey,
Yeah.
and we're left in the dark because uh, the fact of the matter is that the other halves aren't biracial. They don't know how to navigate this thing. So
Yeah.
be proud of who you are. And here's the other thing: is sometimes our creator makes mistakes. He's not perfect. Um,
Hmm.
and this is for my LGBTQ and transgender relatives. Hey, um, it's not perfect. Hey, it's who you are, and
Yeah.
embrace that. People like me will stand up for you. We love you. We encourage you. In our culture, hey, the two spirit people are revealed. They're held
Yeah.
in a high regard. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so be proud of who you are, no matter what it is, no matter your culture, no matter even with the religion. I have a hard time sometimes with some of these religions, but I tell
Yeah.
people, if that's what makes you proud of who you are, so be it then.
Yeah.
But be who you are, because there
Yeah.
are people out here in the community that are literally fighting for safe spaces so that
Yeah.
all of us can be who
Who we
we are.
who we are. And I just want to clarify because just to clarify, just to make sure, because I know you in a sense, not know you like personally, but know you enough to and I've watched your work that when you say that the creator is not perfect and makes a mistake, you're saying that sometimes when people are born a certain way, they're able to walk in who they truly feel that they are.
Yeah, they
Because
shouldn't be shamed for that. That's the right,
right,
because
I
we
just
are
want to
the
make sure because
counter.
the way it came out, because people could take it, but I wanted to make sure because the way you are, I know what your heart is. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
thanks for that, because I want, yeah, that's the thing is, the other argument is that I hear it even in my own community is, oh, well, you were born this way. No, hey, sometimes the wrong spirit is put in the wrong body. And I've done a lot of work. I've done a lot of allyship here in the Grand Rapids area with the
yeah,
LGBTQ community,
yeah. You have,
because that teaching has been lost.
yeah.
And that is important. Look, none of us are even none of us are the same people that we were 5 years ago,
Oh, that's the truth. I mean, I
right?
tell people all the time, yes.
And if you're not
It's certain
adapting
parts
and
of us.
changing,
Yeah, it's certain parts of us that I think are the core, like the deep down core of us that's been with us throughout this journey. But yes, we evolve and we change and we grow and we hopefully and we learn. So yes, I agree with you on that
and
for
we have
sure.
to create a safe space for everybody, and that's why that's important to me, is because
Yeah.
I feel like we've taken a step back sometimes in society when it comes to those things, and it just hurts
Mhm.
my heart that there's people out there that feel that they can't be proud of who they are,
Yeah.
because they may be attacked or weaponized or ostracized from their community or their families, right?
Yeah, family too. Yeah, yeah. And I really like how you touched on the biracial part because I mean, as we know, all of us have a little speck of something in us, right? We know that.
Mhm.
But we're talking about people that like know from like being born that they have mixed race, right? And it is hard. I've talked to a few people about that in regards to how they struggle with who they identify with, because some people will say on this end, well, you're not black enough, and then on this end, well, you're not white enough. So it's like, okay, where do I belong? And then so it's this idea of like almost like you get penalized for if you how do I want to say it, if you walk too much in like this part of you, like you get penalized because it's like, well, why'd you choose that part? And it's like, I don't know, I'm
Yep.
just walking how I feel led to walk. So I can't even imagine that struggle that people go through when it comes to that.
Yeah, it's I experience it a little different than my cousin, who's she's half black and half Ojibwe, right?
Okay.
And I hear things that she's 6 years older than me, and I hear about things that she experienced on the res when we grew up as a youth, and I'm like, what? When did
I
that
know.
happen? And I can't believe that people in our community would say or do those things. And she's still, right? She's 50 now, or
Mhm.
51. She just turned. Um,
Mhm.
she's down in Texas. She still experiences those things. Like
That's
I
so
said,
yeah.
it blows me away that sometimes I think and I look back, we as a society have taken a couple steps backwards, and I
Yeah.
don't know when that started or why. But that's why I take the stands that I do, and I don't apologize. I think that
Yeah.
everybody has a right to these safe spaces, uh,
Yeah.
and that we have to take them. We have to demand them. We no more
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah, yeah. No, I just that kind of always kind of hurts my heart when people get attacked for something they didn't choose. Like
Yeah,
this is who I am, And then I always find it interesting too, where people who struggle to be accepted will then turn around and not accept someone. Like that's always interesting to me when you know how that feels to not just be purely accepted, to do it to somebody else because they have a different walk than you is just very interesting to me. I've never understood it and probably never will.
me either. It
But
baffles me too.
no, it's just so weird. But Joe, I appreciate you because you and I could talk all day. I mean, we share a lot of the same passions and also just that same drive to protect people and to make sure people are seen and heard. I definitely appreciate you stopping by today and having this conversation for sure.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course. Well, you take care and we will be in touch.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.